for anybody who's just come in, but we shall be joined tonight by Cara, and I'll do a little intro with her in a second. Cara's going to talk for about 15 minutes presenting about how to keep a clear focus and stay motivated. But we want this to be an open discussion. We want it to be an open forum. So if you've got questions along the way, feel free to ask them. You can either ask them in chat, I'll be moderating those anyway. But if you've got questions that you'd just like to interrupt and ask, Cara's totally open for that, so that's lovely. And this is going to be quite an interactive one, which I'm very excited about. And then we're going to open up the forum, as I say, to all of you to ask your questions. And yeah, we might even get into some interesting discussions. We're also going to be joined by Fiona and Ben. Now, most of you will know Fiona and Ben, but the reason why we're bringing Fiona and Ben in is because Ben is obviously a coach for startups, and Fiona is a certified emotional intelligence coach. So we've got amazing powers between Cara, Fiona and Ben to be able to answer all of your questions. And yeah, I think we're ready to get going. So Cara, if you don't know Cara has been along for the catapult ride this time around and has been in with this cohort, but she has got serious career foundations in business administration for global organizations, including Google. How could I forget Google, including Google? But she has taken her mental health advocacy to the next level. And this is why we've invited her along tonight. She is a wellbeing business consultant, founder, author of the book Softer Success, and a change maker. So, Cara, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you so much, Lexi, and hi everyone. I'm super excited to be here. So yeah, again, as Lexi said, just jump in with any questions that you may have, but without further ado, let's get started. Just sharing my screen. How to keep a clear focus and stay motivated. Right, well, before we get into anything, I'd like you guys to just take a deep breath in and out. And just get present in the moment. Right, before I go into things more deeply, I just want to share with you these 4 steps that we have found at Softer Success can really help you stay clearly focused and motivated, especially in a portfolio career. First one is practice deep work. Now, what is deep work? Well, deep work was initially coined by the University of Georgetown professor Cal Newport. And if you want to find out more about it, he actually wrote a book called Deep Work, and it's really worth reading. But what we found is that our average focus time is really about 2 hours, and that's without any multitasking or distractions. And this fits really nicely with our ultradian rhythms. So what are our ultradian rhythms? Well, they sit similar. There are daytime rhythms that are fairly similar to our nighttime rhythms. And there was a sleep researcher called Dr. Nathan Kleitman who found out that the nighttime rhythms that we have, where our sleep cycle is about 90 minutes, also happens during the day, our ultradian rhythm. And this is why after about 90 minutes of work or concentrating, we often tend to feel a little bit sleepy, or we are feeling a bit tired or just not energized. And that is when we reach out for our coffee. This is when we go for our sugary snack, or we just power on adrenaline. One of the most important things to do here is actually make sure you put time in your calendar for deep work, and that's turn your phone off, get your phone onto airplane mode, really, if you don't want to have any distractions, and to set your emails, even work offline is one of the recommendations, and some of my clients do that, or set boundaries and say, right, I'm emailing at this time in the morning or at this time in the evening, and I have 1 hour a day or an hour and a half a day that I'm really focusing on deep work and the stuff that I need to do. You could also try the Pomodoro Technique. This is really good too. So the Pomodoro Technique works for some of our clients, where it's the, you may have heard of it. It's the little the kitchen timer. It's in the form of a tomato, and if you set it to 25 minutes, you can work on a task for 25 minutes and do this 3 times. It depends what kind of project you're working on, but I have people, some of my clients, that really find it very effective. Set it to 25 minutes, work on your task uninterrupted, and then take a short break after that. So something that you could try. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is plan dedicated joy time. I know we don't tend to plan joy, right? We plan work. But if you're able to plan joy moments in your day, it can directly combat our stress hormone, cortisol. So joy brings up the hormone oxytocin. And the more moments of joy we have throughout our day, the more we will combat our stressful moments. And remember that we have several micro stressors that we go through during the day. Especially at the moment, we've got our situational stress, that COVID that's sort of hanging around us, and then all the other little things, especially around this time of year, and work-wise that we're doing. So make sure that you take that into account and plan in your joy. Let me give you an example. So a client of mine came to see me some months ago and was feeling a little bit fatigued and just not motivated. And I said to him, I said, and this guy leads a big team. He's got about 150 people that report into him, and then their teams underneath. And he's normally traveling a lot, but due to COVID, he's not. And he just said to me, I feel not motivated, fatigued. And I asked him, I said, when was the last time that what brings you joy? And he said, well, I actually really love watching a movie with my son. And I said, well, when was the last time that you did that? He said, well, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, during the week at least, because he found himself, working from 8 a.m. in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. Work was just really busy. So he made a couple of changes and said, right, I'm going to have 2 days in the week that I finish work a bit earlier and I take time to watch a movie with my son. And it helped him combat his stress hormone and felt more happy. So plan in your joy. It could also just be 5 minutes here and there, whatever helps you. Thirdly, write your future script. Now we're coming to the end of 2020. And this may be a really nice thing to do over the holidays, or when you're sort of, over the Christmas period when things are a little bit quieter. So what is a future script? Well, it's basically a letter that you're writing to yourself. It's like a script where you'd like your career or your life to pan out in the future. And to give you an example, it could be something like, I'm really grateful that I got to the end of 2020 feeling peaceful and calm. And I started 2021 with high energy and was able to balance all the balls that I had up in the air calmly and efficiently. And then you may want to add some specific things and goals that you'd like to see happening. And then you need to date it, a specific date, maybe the end of 2021 or the middle of 2021, whatever works best for you. And keep reading this and sign it actually as well. So sign it, and it's something that you've written out to yourself, and keep rereading it, and this will help rewire your brain. And finally, focus on micro wellness. We talked about deep work, joy time, planning in joy time, writing out your future script, and planning in micro wellness throughout your day. So this is something we use at Softer Success a lot. And what is micro wellness? Well, these are 1 to 5 minute activities that give your brain and your body a rest. What could they be? Actually, we're going to do one of them now. I hope you'll join in with me. So we can do a little, while sitting at your desk, imagine you've been working on a few projects, you've been doing your emails, and you've got sort of maybe doing that for a couple of hours. You've got over your deep work, or maybe you've even been doing deep work. What can you do to just give yourself a bit of energy and help get that focus back? Well, you could give your body a shake out. And then we can do it now, actually, because shaking is known to be really, really effective to help release stress and trauma. And you see kids do it in war zone areas. Animals do it. Animals shake off after they've gone through a stressful event. So why should we not do it? A mini version of it during the day, and help us keep focused and on to the next step. So why don't we do it now? We can do a sort of sitting down version of it. I'd like you to just start shaking out your arms like this, top of your head. Give your shoulders a bit of a shake. And now just like you to rub your hands like this. And you just feel your palms for me. How are your palms feeling? Are they sweaty? Are they warm? Are they cold? Mine are cold. And now
that everybody is doing this so politely with mute on.
unmute yourself. Tell me. Give your feet a wriggle. Feel your feet in your shoes or your whatever you're wearing. Actually, I don't have shoes on, so I've just got feet. I'm feeling my feet. Yeah. So just tell me how you feel. What your hands feel like. Mine are cold.
Dry.
Dry. Yes.
Mine are now very warm.
Yeah, because this helps to warm you up.
Dry from too much hand gel.
Yeah. Anyway, so throughout the day, bring yourself back into, you could try this, every time you switch to do something different, just, shake your body out a bit and take a deep breath in and out. So 1 to 5 minutes of micro wellness. Sometimes it just takes 60 seconds to change your mindset and to get back into a bit of a clear focus. And another thing that we found really effective is turning routines, our boring old routines, into uplifting rituals. So what are routines? Our routines are things, events that we do every day in the same order. So it could be something like getting up, getting dressed, having your shower, brushing your teeth, clearing away the dishes. And we often do them on autopilot and see them as, chores. It's just part of what you do. Now, I had a client that came to me and went, oh, I hate the moment that I turn on my email, my laptop in the morning, and all the emails pop up. And she felt quite demotivated at that moment because her inbox would be full. And I asked her how she went about it. She said, well, actually, I brew my coffee and then I sit down and I turn my laptop on and I eat my porridge and drink my coffee at the same time. But she was quite demotivated by it. So what did we do? Well, we turned things around a little bit so that she found the moment of reading her emails and, turning on her laptop, actually an uplifting ritual. So she first started by buying herself a really special coffee cup. And even the moment that she was turning on her laptop or waiting for it to start, she would have her first sips of coffee, but in a mindful way, really enjoying it. And this is the difference between a routine and a ritual, is really how we think about it. So the intention that we have around it. So her intention was actually to enjoy her coffee. And then she turned on some uplifting music. And obviously, many more of us are working from home, so it's much easier to do, or pop your headset on if you have others around you. And she turned on uplifting music and really created a ritual around reading her emails first thing in the morning. After that, she felt much more positive about it and felt uplifted and saw it as a moment that she actually took time for herself. So be aware of those moments in the day that you think, oh, I'm doing this again, it's so boring, I'm just sort of on automatic pilot. Turn it into an uplifting ritual for yourself. So have a think what those kind of things could be for you. Maybe I will ask you at the end and you can tell me what you could change, just one thing that you could change into an uplifting ritual. Now, another thing that's happening at the moment, because a lot of us are stuck behind our screens, is dealing with screen fatigue and Zoom fatigue. And here are a few ways that can help you with that. So first of all, adjust the lighting. So we are in winter here in the UK, so it does get darker a lot earlier, but make sure that you have the right light to support you in the space that you work in. Look away from your screen every 20 minutes. In fact, do it with me now. So stop looking at the screen and look away from your screen at anything else in the room, even if you sort of have to turn around. And maybe do this exercise with me while we're doing it. This is a blinking exercise that really helps with screen fatigue. So pop your hands behind your head like this. Keep your head really still. And then just while you're keeping your head still, slowly look with your eyes to the left. And then blink consciously about 10 times. You may feel you want to take a deep breath in when you're doing that. And then slowly, while keeping your head still again, look to the right and blink again, consciously about another 10 times. Take a deep breath in and out. And keep looking away from the screen. So why do we need to look away from our screen? Well, first of all, we weren't built to be looking down. So not only is it bad for our neck, we know that, but it's also not good for our eyes. We actually do need to have distant vision as well. So keep on looking at your screen, but make sure you look away every 20 minutes and do this blinking exercise. If you don't remember exactly how to do it, just consciously blink for about 10-15 times. Make sure you have good air quality in the space that you're working. So again, it is cold, it's winter time, but if you can air out, it will help with dryness of your eyes, and also just to make sure that the right fresh air is coming in. And then again, also make sure that you have the right eyewear protection. So if you don't wear glasses, make sure that you have your screen protector from blue light. And blue light is that light that we naturally get from the sun. So it helps with our melatonin, and it helps us to have a proper sleep and wake cycle. But when we have been exposed by too much blue light and think that's, you know, having your screen on for too late at night, or you're on your phone just before you go to bed, watching funny cat videos or something, it can affect the quality of our sleep. So some people, it actually affects the sleep because they can become really alert and not sleepy because the melatonin is not activated in the right way. But it can also affect the quality of our sleep. So even though you think, I may have had a good night's sleep, you've been on your screen just before you go to bed, you may not have had the best sleep. So be aware of that. Make sure you turn your smartphone, or actually I say all technology, off at least 1 hour before you go to bed. And 1 in 3 of us, actually you guys can let me know this, who uses their smartphone as an alarm clock?
Yeah.
Pop your hands up or just say yes. Yeah, most people.
Yeah.
1 in 3 of us actually, this was some research by Deloitte, found that we check our smartphone in the middle of the night, and more than almost 80% of us check our smartphone within the first 15 minutes of waking up. So I would say to my clients, invest in an alarm clock to give yourself that free moment, because sometimes we're, you know, checking work emails while we're still in bed, and that's a surefire way to get your cortisol levels rising. So be aware of that. Okay, so talking about screen fatigue. Now, I just want to take you into how to cope with rejection. And I think that's really important when you are running your own business, and something of what I call the entrepreneurial roller coaster. So it's really, really important to make sure that we do a couple of things when you have maybe had a no on a proposal. So first of all, maybe take a break and take a step back and go and do something else, and just digest it, right? And think about it. It's very easy. And we as humans do have a negative bias. So remember that we naturally go to the negative. And that's because our minds and our bodies are trying to identify if there's a threat. So we do have a tendency to go towards a negative bias and go, oh, you know, this and that. But try to maybe look at what you have learned from this rejection. You know, what is there something that you could have done better in your proposal, in the particular, you know, situation that happened? Take a break, use positive reframing. So Softer Success, we use the ABC technique a lot, where you use something called disputation, where you argue with yourself rationally. So in a gentle way, you could do this just with a one-liner. You know, think of one of the positives that have come out of this rejection. So you could do that. And then talk to other people about it. So talk to the wonderful community at the Portfolio Collective. You know, we've all been through it. Or I'd even be happy if you wanted to drop me a line on it. We've all been through it. And actually, sometimes not getting a job can lead to something better, because you may learn from it and redo the work, and so maybe the next best thing is just around the corner. So think really actively about what you've learned. And finally, guys, I have a little challenge for you. So we've talked a lot about screen fatigue and how to set boundaries, and it's quite important with this having your own portfolio career. It's quite easy to be always switched on and think, well, I don't want to miss a job, and I just want to make sure I'm checking my emails all the time. To work more effectively and to keep a clear focus and stay motivated, we need breaks, and we need to set boundaries around technology. So which one of these 5 would you guys pick and be able to do for the next week? Could you give up social media accounts for a couple of days? I have clients that do that over the weekend and say, right, I'm just going social media free. Could you, and I say night owl, could you take a break from the internet after 9, or could you at least turn your phone off 1 hour before you go to bed? What about practicing the deep work and switching your phone to airplane mode 1 hour a day? This an ideal opportunity if you go outside, or you're practicing your deep work. Take a break from personal social media accounts when you're working. I see a couple of things coming up on the chat. So, and maybe keep screens out of the bedroom to improve your sleep. So remember, we've got the blue light that is affecting us. If you don't want to if you're using your smartphone as an alarm clock, how about maybe just popping up to the other side of the room, and maybe putting it on grayscale so that the light is not as inviting when you're turning your alarm off, and you're not as invited to go into all your messages and emails. And remember that this will help improve your sleep. So the less, we don't want too much blue light. We need blue light naturally from the sun, but we don't want too much blue light. So there you go. Let me know. I see a whole lot of things popping up on the chat. I'm going to take a peek.
Who's doing which of your challenges?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,